Everyone, this is Catrice Johnson, and we are with Bantu Cola. And today we are disrupting Pensacola with a new Black business showcase. And I've got Mr. Lloyd Reshard here online, and we're going to talk to him about his business. Hi, Lloyd. How are you today?
Great. How are you, Catrice?
All is well. All is well. I'm super excited to have you on, and I'm super excited to have you talk about your business. So let's get started in talking about what it is you do. So let's talk about it. What's the name of your organization?
Yes, I'm here today representing the Kukua Institute, and Kukua means growth in Swahili.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Great.
Okay, I got to put that word out.
Yeah, well, that's who I'm here representing, and we are a nonprofit that supports community and economic development here in Pensacola and throughout the world. And so we have 3 areas of focus, and they're all pretty big areas, so it's kind of hard to focus on any one of them. But there's 3 things that we do. Of course, Robin, my wife, she's kind of like a historian and a writer, and so she does a lot of research and partnering with the University of West Florida and other organizations doing research on local Black history, primarily in the Belmont, the Villiers area. And we take that research and we create curriculum in virtual reality and robotics and AI, so people can get a good blend of the past and a good look at the future. And so that's what we do for our young folks trying to learn STEM and get them interested in robotics and AI and virtual reality and stuff like that. But it also gives them a chance to learn about the Black folks that contributed to society here in Northwest Florida. And secondly, our area mainly involves workforce. We have the Center for the Innovation Workforce, where we run cohorts of people through skilling programs, certification programs, and we provide a training layer for them, a work experience layer, a project-based learning layer, and a community engagement layer, and we try to connect them to hands-on experience so they can be better prepared for the workforce. And finally, we work with startup founders, teaching them the best practices for building a startup so they can take advantage of some of the opportunities that are out there for founders.
That is phenomenal. You have got a lot going on. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about the last piece of it where you're doing the startup, because that is something that business owners really need to know about. Give me a little bit more in depth about that. So I'm in the program. I just got started with it.
Great.
A lot of information. So what are some of the key things that you help as far as that's concerned?
There are opportunities out there for founders, but in order for you to be able to take advantage of those opportunities, if you're in the startup world, you have to build a scalable business model around whatever idea you have for making money. In order to unlock those opportunities, you have to be able to pitch your business model for what you're building. And so what that means is you actually pitch what you're building, not what you already have. And the startup ecosystem will help you progress through your journey from the idea, the concept, to the initial product offering, the growth stage, and even through exit. And so there are a variety of programs all over the world. And since George Floyd passed away, corporate America has put out over $60 billion to support Black and other minority founders, to grow their business idea into a product or service and make money behind it. The government has also provided over $100 billion in funding for businesses as well. So it's a great opportunity. But in order to unlock the opportunity, you literally have to apply for these programs. And so you have to be able to describe what you're planning to build clearly and concisely. You also have to be able to pitch it verbally, clearly and concisely. And so what our startup program, it's called Startup on the Blocks, And what we started it exactly 3 years ago to teach people.
Before you go into that, let me ask you a question, because I've been hearing this comment on a regular basis, and I don't know if everyone knows what that means. What is a scalable business model? Explain that piece of it.
Yeah, so no matter what business you're in, there is a business model for it. And the reason why you want to have a business model is you want to be able to predict the growth of your business. So it's something you should think about early on, no matter what type of business you're starting. But when you think about the startup world and the startup ecosystem, it's focused on the people that are building scalable business models. And that's something that can scale not just locally, but nationally and worldwide. So it's basically something that's designed to grow at kind of like at a 10x rate. That's the normal figure they use. Whereas a traditional small business like a restaurant or barbershop or coffee shop, clothing store, the business model is not designed to grow at that 10x rate. And 10x means like through certain periods of growth, you get 10x more customers or 10x more income.
10 times more clientele, 10 times more business. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the 10x thing means. And the growing your business at a 10x rate, you have to design your business model for that. And what most people don't realize, and what I found even for myself, it takes just as much work for a non-scalable business model as it does for a scalable business model. But there are more opportunities for a scalable business model. So when you have a traditional business model that's not scalable, you have to go after loans, and stuff to finance your business. But when you're doing a scalable business model, there's a whole ecosystem out there that provide in-kind services, funding, that you don't have to pay back, as opposed to a traditional small business. And we all are capable of designing a scalable business model. We just have to become aware of what it is and aware how we can use our own knowledge based on our work experience out there working for a living. You identify problems that you see, on your job or running your company, and then you come up with an idea to solve the problem, and then you try to develop a business model that has recurring income and that you can actually predict. Even if it's not recurring income, you still have to be able to predict based on a certain amount of marketing you do, you get this many customers. So it's all about predictability.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then you said that there's 160 billion. There's 60 billion with the
corporate America,
and then 100 billion with the government.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So back after the George Floyd murder, I started keeping track of, not formally, but just on just paying attention. And the first thing I noticed was SoftBank, they set aside $100 million for Black founders. So, and when I say Black founders, that means a person that has an idea and they're working on a scalable business model for that idea. And then, Google followed along, all the major corporations followed along, and that money has, since expanded to include founders of color, minority businesses, but there's a significant amount that's set aside specifically for Black founders. And so what my definition of a founder, which is what I tell people quite often, the minute you start working on a scalable business model for an idea you're a founder. And the minute you become a founder, you are eligible for all of the programs that are offered to founders. And those programs could include funding to form a corporation. It could include free software or in-kind software. It could include training. It could include pitch competitions. It could include pre-accelerator programs, accelerator programs, and just a whole host of things that support you going from that idea to actually selling your business.
Now, when I hear the word founder, in my head, the first thing that comes up is nonprofit. And so is this for just nonprofits? Is this for regular businesses? when you say founder, what exactly does that mean?
Well, founder is a term that's mostly used in the startup industry, but anybody that starts a company is a founder. But when you speak of it in concept of a entrepreneur or startup ecosystem, it literally means somebody that's working on a scalable business idea. You know, what most people, they group businesses in, let's use these three categories. So corporate America, and so the studies that came out maybe 5 or 6 years ago basically said corporate America is shedding jobs, but they also responsible for, you know, a little over 20% of the new jobs that are created. And then for traditional small business, like they're responsible for a little bit of 20% or more of the new jobs. But the majority, over 50% of the jobs are due to small businesses that are high growth, you know, like scalable business models. And these are businesses that are totally tech enabled to actually grow, you know, in a scalable fashion.
All right. So the program that you have now for Startup on the Blocks, how are people able to get into this program? That's the first question. And then the second question is there certain things that people need to bring to the table whenever they are in the program?
Yes. So Startup on the Blocks. So you can get involved in this program through our website, kakuainstitute.org. You click the Get Started button, and there's a link on there for Startup on the Blocks where you can actually sign up to get access to some of our resources. Those resources include some training, mentoring, and coaching. I think I want to back up and give you kind of an idea of why we started the Startup on the Blocks program. So basically, locally here in Northwest Florida, there were some efforts related to people at the early idea stage of, you know, trying to build a startup. And so I noticed there wasn't a lot, and a lot of the programs weren't overly inclusive. So as I was on my startup journey as a founder, traveling different cities in Europe, I saw what the startup ecosystem was about, and I took advantage of a lot of the resources that the startup ecosystem has, including money, training, in-kind software services, mentoring, the whole works. And so what I learned was that organizations all over the world were helping people they had organizations helping people at the idea stage, and they had organizations helping people at the kind of like where you're trying to the product development stage, and also at the growth stage. And believe it or not, even at the exit stage. When I say exit stage, actually, this is more like before exit stage. So you got a company, a startup that's making 5 to 10 million. And what I found out in one of my experiences, like down in Miami, they even had nonprofits that worked with startups that were making between 5 and 10 million a year, and their whole goal was to help them get to 100 million a year. So it amazed me that it didn't matter which stage you were at. What I learned from the programs I participated in and what I saw around the country and how they were grooming their startups. So for example, like in 2017, I entered a showcase thing down in Miami at the Merge Americas. And so I was down there, and you know, I got the opportunity to pitch one of my startup ideas. And then what I noticed was the ecosystem here in Northwest Florida didn't prepare me as well as some of the people I was competing with. For example, I was competing with a company that was pre-revenue and had raised $10 million. You see what I'm saying? And so it really made me feel we need to do a better job here in getting people prepared to compete for the funding that's actually out there. So for Kakua Institute, the reason why we did a startup program was I couldn't talk anybody else into working with early stage startups in a way that could get them prepared to compete for some of this funding. About a little over 3 years ago, my son said we should just do something ourselves. And so that's what's the emphasis for the Startup on the Blocks program.
So I have a question for you. I'm sorry to cut you off real quick. So the SBDC, are you partnering with them at all with this, or is it something that they are doing?
The SBDC is a part of the ecosystem, but they can work with people with scalable business models. They can work with traditional small business, but they don't focus these high growth startups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's the easiest way to say it. And so even in my journey, they were part of the programs that were supporting, high growth startup, because I remember the first competition I entered locally here was almost, it was about nine and a half years ago. But part of that program, you got coaching from the Small Business Development Center. And that was like a $200,000 pitch competition. 4 years later, they had another pitch competition. So that one was like $250,000. And here currently today, a different organization is offering a $100,000 pitch competition. And so these are opportunities that if you learn how to pitch what you're building, not what you have, what you're building, you can actually, compete for some of this money. And so I've been able to win, like through programs and pitch competitions, close to $150,000, and none of it which I had to pay back. I just used it to build my products and services.
Okay, just to make sure that I understand, whenever you have something that you're building, that's what they'll fund. They won't fund like a company that's already established. Is that correct?
They will fund the companies already established. It doesn't matter which stage you're at. That's what the whole point I've been trying to make is that you can be at the idea stage or you can be close to exit. The ecosystem supports you no matter which stage you're at. The ecosystem will support you, but you have to be able to learn the best practices. The ecosystem has a certain language it speaks, so we try to help you learn that language. That's kind of what the dilemma is. Like for example, most people like to say I have an idea and they're trying to get money for their idea, but you don't get money for your idea. You get money for the business model that you have to make money with your idea.
Got it.
You can't pitch your product or service. You have to pitch how you make money with your product or service. Well, and I appreciate you, taking the time to talk about it, but because it is an opportunity to miss. So, like for example, all the founders we've been working with locally here, theoretically, they should be ready to compete for this $100,000 pitch competition, right?
Right.
But if you don't pay attention to the opportunity, and all this stuff is about training, is about working on your startup. And see, that's the part that amazed me. Every program I've ever been in throughout the world, you work on your company or whatever you're building. They don't ever ask you to do anything but work on your company and help you become more successful. And so some people seem to have a problem with that. I don't know why I can't take time, a few hours a week to work on what my idea is. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So looking at that when it comes to people, I think a lot of people are afraid of success. I think that's one of the biggest things that stops us from moving forward, because we don't believe in ourselves and what we're doing and the fact that it's going to make a difference, not just to us, but to the impacting the world piece of it. And I think that's where we have the issue of not doing stuff. So hopefully this will give people an opportunity to really see that there's something out there. When does this pitch competition that has the $100,000, when do we have to have everything in for that?
Yes, that I-10 wired, and the deadline for that is I think the 1st of September. So you can go to I-10 wire, and that's for profit startups. And there are also programs out there for nonprofit. Matter of fact, I just saw an email this morning. There is a program, I think it says $200K, where you can pitch your idea for a nonprofit, and then they will fund the nonprofit.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So for the I-10 Wire one, you have until September 1st to actually sign up for that, to do the pitch competition. Do you know when the $200K one for the nonprofit is going to be? Did it give you the information about that?
Yeah. So I think I don't know if I posted that one on our Startup on the Block's Facebook page, but if you also go to our careerinstitute.org Get Started page, it will have a link to founder opportunities. And that's typically where we maintain our database of opportunities. And so those particular ones, some of those, the ones that are really timely, that are short, I put those, I will go ahead and post them on our Startup on the Block's Facebook page. But the ones, most of the ones, we'll put them in our founder opportunity database. We have over probably close to 800 opportunities in there. And we've been curating that information over the past 9 months now.
So with that being said, there's a lot of viable information that you have on your website that can help people. Let's talk about your Startup on the Blocks. You do have a show that's out as well. Let's talk about that. So what does that actually do, and how can people grow from that?
Basically, what our objective is with our Startup on the Blocks program, our weekly event. So the first hour is for networking, so you can meet other founders or people in the ecosystem. The second hour is we have a guest founder, or we might have somebody that's in the ecosystem or organization to actually support them. And so, like last Thursday, we had Nikhil Gupta. He had recently raised over 800K through a safe note, and so we had him share his experience on raising that money, and kind of what he had to go through for that. And we have all types of folks on it. We've even had Ash Murray, the guy who invented the lean canvas, just all sorts of people that had built companies and sold companies. And we like to have everyday people so people can see themselves in who we have on the program. But our Startup on the Blocks Facebook page has all the videos from all the events. So if anybody's interested in take them going back and take a look at them. So we've had 149 events. I've interviewed over 150 founders, and what I found was that a lot of the founders have broken business models, and so they start building something. They go out and even raise money and find out it actually can't scale the way they want it to. And so, including myself, 10 years ago, I launched a product and I spent almost $200,000 on it, and we never got to market because we don't take time to develop a scalable business model. And anybody can design a scalable business model, and you can literally design it. So, in our training that we do, you get access to, it's called the Business Model Design Training, and it literally helps you, and that's the program you're in. It design a scalable business model, and you stress test it for desirability, feasibility, and desirability, viability, and feasibility. And then once you do that, you have the confidence to actually pitch it. And then we also have some training that will teach you everything you need to know about the startup world in taking your company from a vision to an exit. And that program is called Startup Science. And that program, you learn all the terminology, you get to build your company profile, get to invite investors in to take a look at your profile. But that training is designed to teach you how to apply for these accelerator programs that are out there that get the help you need.
So, okay, with that being said, you right now I'm in the program that you have. How often do you have these programs?
Yeah, so the program you're in is a part of our Startup on the Blocks program, but it's called the Black Founder Program, Florida edition, and Florida Power and Light is actually sponsoring our first 2 cohorts of that. So you're in the first cohort. And then there's a second cohort. The applications are already open for that, and you can get to that by apply.kakuainstitute.org. And then at the beginning of 2024, we're going to offer a 90-day launch program where we're going to take the people who participated in the 2 cohorts, or actually even you can also do it as self-study. And you can come in there and take advantage of the learning and the tools that's there. And so with each of these 30-day cohorts, we've given away $3,000 at the end of the 30 days. So 3 founders will get $1,000 each. So you actually have some incentive to learn this stuff. And then in the 90-day, we'll give away $5,000. But all this stuff, you're actually just working on your idea, your company. We also have 2 more 30-day cohorts through our Blacks in Technology program. So anybody can become a member, per Black person can become a member of Blacks in Technology. So we also have 2 more cohorts. So that's being offered this year. And so same thing, you get opportunity to win three grand. I mean, 1,000. Three people get opportunity to win a grand each, and so so there's a lot of opportunities to actually participate here before the end of the year.
Talk about Blacks in Technology. That's the last thing I wanted to talk to you about. Blacks in Technology is this organization. What does it do other than just say it's Blacks in Technology? What do they have to offer?
Yeah, so Blacks in Technology is an organization that, I guess the whole goal slogan is like stomping out the tech divide. But all it's about is getting Black people into technology. Literally, that's what it does. And so it offers, it's free to join. It offers free training programs, like our program with the startup, like free tech-related training program. So upskilling programs, just like if you look at the stuff we got on our Get Started page, the Blacks in Technology offer a bunch of programs like that for you as a Black person, in technology or wanting to get in technology. So you can sign up for these programs. Most of them are free, but some of them have a discount. But yeah, so that's that. And then we partnered with them at the beginning of the year to offer the Startup Founder training, so to get more Black people trained on how to build scalable business models.
That's wonderful. So guys, Kakua Institute is something that you definitely want to go to their social media pages, Facebook in general, where they have a lot of the videos that are out there. I think that they have a LinkedIn page as well if you are interested in that. And also check out their website, kakuainstitute.org. Is that correct? Well, Lloyd, thank you so much for your time.
All right.
You gave me a lot to think about, and I'm sure everyone else is going to be watching this will be probably contacting you and asking questions. Guys, again, if you're interested in having your business showcase, please be contact us at bc@bantucola.com. We'd love to have you on. Lloyd, thank you again for your
Hey, tribe, come join the largest Black business directory on the Gulf Coast. Join Bantu Cola, where we advertise, buy, and advocate for Black businesses. So sign your business up today at bantucola.com, bantucola.com. Bantu Cola, be Black, buy Black, think Black.